So we're doing CMC flexion, MMT. And so for grade 3, I'm gonna tell him to touch the bottom of his pinky. And while he does that, can you open back up again? I'm gonna apply minimal resistance, just a little sliding across. That's a grade 3. I'm gonna position him halfway, stabilize the wrist and the ulnar side of the hand, and I'm gonna resist the MC, the first metacarpal. So I'm gonna push you this way, don't let me push you. 1, 2, 3, that's a 5. Then for the 2, he's just gonna touch the base without any resistance. Okay, what's next? Extension. So for extension, the forearm in neutral, this is the against gravity position. He's gonna start from up here. Can you bring your thumb up? And that's a 3. I'm gonna put in halfway. I'm gonna stabilize the forearm, the wrist, and yeah, kind of the wrist and the forearm. And I'm gonna be resisting at the first metacarpal. Okay, so let me push you up. 2, 3, and that's the 5. And then for the 2 is gonna be out this way. Good. Okay.
The 2 is just on the table and it's
No, it's off the table.
Oh, off.
Because if you're on the table, it's going to provide resistance.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
So you balance it on your hand?
Yeah, I usually like hold the hand up so that it's in the gravity eliminated plane. Support this way, so that because they're gonna want to put it on the table.
When you're holding the hand up, though, do you allow the thumb to come off your hand?
I do, because it's usually pretty okay, but if they're like plopping, you can support the weight. But the thumb's not that heavy, like the shoulder.
Right.
Could you show us the way again? I missed it.
Forearms in neutral, and they're just gonna
Start
come
like
from the
this.
bottom and do the thumbs up position. And that's the 3. I kept forgetting to the class, I said e-box.
That's for sure. I just tell somebody.
Palmar abduction.
Abduction. Okay, so for palmar abduction, the palm is up for against gravity. They're gonna bring it up this way, and that's the 3. And then I'm gonna position halfway. I'm stabilizing the wrist and kind of the hand. I'm gonna be resisting at the first metacarpal. 1, 2, 3, and that's the 5. For the 2, they're gonna come out away from the palm like this. The forearm goes in neutral, and that's the grade 2.
That's fine.
So he's gonna come this way. This is
Abduction.
abduction.
Where are you resisting again?
Always, never, just don't cross the joints. So always the metacarpal.
Does it matter if the thumb is stacked and including this? Because that's just for ROM3.
Just to check for the 0 for range of motion. But I kind of have them come this way.
Are you like doing anything when they're doing too? Like, are you just holding on to his hand? Like, do you have to do that?
It's just stabilizing.
Do you? But I know for 5 you definitely do, but for 2, do you have to stabilize? Because I saw like mixed,
Sometimes,
especially during the last part.
oh, I know. I don't guess if they're doing something compensatory.
Okay.
Because they might try to like use their long flexors or something, and then you would have to.
Yeah, so you might.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll see like this, yeah, or like stuff, in which case you would have to fix them and kind of.
If you really want to isolate the muscle, that's if you see somebody with neurological damage.
Wait, can you show 2 again?
It's just this.
And 3.
The forearms in neutral. 3 is this way.
And 5 is off the table.
No, 5 is
used.
resistance.
Okay.
Against it.
That was 5.
So this is 3, it's just up, right? Full range of motion against gravity. And then you stabilize, place halfway, and then resist the metacarpal.
Flexion. MP flexion.
Thumb, MP flexion. So for this one, this is the against gravity. The palm is up. We are, can you bend your thumb like that? That's the 3.
So you have to squeeze that muscle?
You're not squeezing the muscle, I'm stabilizing the, because you're blocking CMC flexion so that you can isolate the MCP flexion.
So you're just stabilizing?
Yeah, you have to block the movement here. Yeah.
Because you can, if you compensate, you can probably get more
And what are you
movement out of it.
stabilizing?
You're blocking CMC movement, so you're stabilizing the metacarpal. And then he's flexing here. And then the 5, so I'm going to stabilize the metacarpal, resist at the proximal phalanx. 1, 2, 3. That's the 5. Stabilize the metacarpal and resist at the proximal phalanx. Thumb MP flexion. And then they do in the book go this way. With the forearm, so 2 is the forearms in neutral.
Even though this is like
Even though it's like
gravity
with
exists.
gravity, yeah. Oh wait.
What are you stabilizing for 2?
Stabilize the CMC joint, like the metacarpal. I think it is this way actually. And the palm will be up.
So this is a 2?
Yeah.
How is that different than 3?
3, you're placing this way. So it's more against gravity.
So, and
So
what?
the palm still up is just a different force. Palm still up is just okay.
Yeah, so this is supposed to be, because it's this joint, so it's MCP flexion here versus here.
So you're kind of twisting it under this.
I'm moving the CMC joint position.
So the forearm's not going to be neutral? No, it's
Keep it supinated.
okay.
Just put the MCP joint, stack it into adduction. I'm pretty sure is the book.
And you're
Yeah,
stabilizing the
The CMC
or the
joint.
CMC.
Thumb IP flexion? Okay. So that's for the flexor pollicis longus. So again, it's the same thing. His palms up. You're gonna block the MCP joint and the CMC joint. Go ahead and bend. And that's the 3. Then he's gonna keep it there. So let me push 2, 3. And then place him horizontal. Go ahead. Straighten. Good, and bend. And that's the 2.
Can you do it again with your other hand? Sorry.
So trying to place him as much against gravity as possible. So I'm blocking the CMC and MCP. Go ahead and flex. That's the 3.
Okay.
Come from all the way. Yep. And then bend. That's the 3. Then he's going to keep it here. So let me push you. 1, 2, 3 is the 5. And then I'll place him as much into gravity, the horizontal plane, as possible. And that's the 2.
Are you resisting at the distal?
Resist at the distal
Okay.
phalanx.
And you're still holding on to the MC and CMC throughout all the movements?
What was the next one?
Double position.
Okay. So for this one, Dan's gonna start open hand for the grade 3, and he's gonna touch his pinky to his thumb. And that's a 3. He's gonna hold it there. I'm gonna hook in between and stabilize his wrist. I'm gonna say, don't let me pull you apart. And that's the 5. And then a 2 is just like in the side, right?
Wasn't there a thought of however?
Oh, partial range, yeah.
That's 2.
And then a grade 2 would be if they could only complete partial range through the range of motion.
So we'll just have to
So you have
So
to do
just like
partial
this.
range.
Yeah.
So you would tell your partner, don't go all the way?
You would just describe what it is.
Or you would show them?
Just tell them.
go halfway.
2 is if they can't do full range. 5. So he touches here,
And then you try and like,
and then
tear
you
apart.
hook and you try to separate the two.
Next is digit MCP.
So for MCP flexion, you're testing the lumbricals. So this is the extrinsic plus position, and you're gonna say, can you come from here? Shoot straight up. That's the 3. So MCP extension, right, is like this. This way. With the palm on the back of the table.
That's 2.
This is the 3. We always start 3. So palms on the table, MCP is extended, PIP, DIP flexed, and shoot straight. That's a 3.
Spring goes up.
You start.
If I do this,
You have
Flexion and you go.
No,
Yeah.
this way.
oh, like that.
No, this way. Shoot up. Yeah.
Tiger to duck.
Tiger.
Tiger to duck.
He didn't answer me. I'll show you, it's not that bad.
No.
No,
No.
no, it's not that bad.
Like gay.
And here to here. Okay, so then a grade 5. So he's here. I'm gonna stabilize his metacarpals, and I'm gonna resist across the fingers. 1, 2, 3, while they stay straight. And that's the 5.
What are you stabilizing?
Stabilizing his metacarpals.
Okay.
And then resisting the IP joints.
And you have the palm, like on his palm.
I'm kind of like my fingers are crossing his fingers this way. Okay. Then for grade 2, his forearm's gonna go into neutral. He's gonna be here, and he's gonna shoot out. The same thing as when tiger to
Duck.
duck. I used to call this soaring eagle when I was in school.
It makes sense to me. I don't know
Well,
why.
this is like, it's part of the joint glide. So that's how I would teach people to do it. You start like that.
I thought it soared off.
Next is MCP abduction.
What was it?
Abduction. So he's gonna come here, and his fingers are gonna be closed, his palms on the table. I'm gonna ask him to spread his fingers, and that's a grade 3. Then I'm gonna say, keep your fingers, oh, right? You know, you're actually,
Abduction,
yeah. So now I'm gonna ask him to push against me for the grade 5. So he's trying to open, I'm resisting that.
Just at the second digit?
At, yeah.
Just resisting at the second.
And then I'm
1
not
and 1
crossing
and 5.
joints either.
So like
So,
1 and 5 on the
yeah. So
proximal
it's, yeah,
phalanx.
2nd and 5th at the
Okay.
proximal phalanx.
Okay.
So I'm grabbing close, and he's pushing out, phalanges. And that's the 5. And then the 2, he comes off the table and opens his hand.
The desk provides the resistance.
Resistance.
Just like Olin.
So, he wants to PIP flexion.
Okay. So for PIP flexion, you're isolating the superficialis, which we palpated before already. I'll do your middle. So you're going to be back in this position. So that's your grade 3. Thanks, Dan.
You're welcome.
Do you get a hand off the fingers off the table?
No, he could be just palm on the table, wherever. But this, yeah, the back of the hand should be on the table, and you're holding the other fingers that you're not testing in extension. And then he bends. Then you're gonna hold him, go ahead and bend. You're gonna resist at the middle phalanx. 1, 2, 3. And that's the 5. And then the same thing, but with the forearm in neutral. And the gravity minimized plane is the grade 2.
How would you describe that that movement? Like his hands are what?
PIP flexion.
No, like
So it's saying
no, I mean like the stance.
forearm in neutral,
Well,
second, fourth, and fifth digits extended. And DIP flexion. Everybody ready?
No, for 5. Oh, 5. I'm sorry,
Okay.
5. What are you stabilizing?
So for DIP flexion, the palms up
I
again,
don't have that. I just have
stabilized on the table, and you're testing the flexor digitorum profundus. So you're blocking MCP and PIP flexion, and that's your grade 3. Is just blocking it and then having him bend his finger at the tip. That's a 3. Then for the 5, I'm holding here, he's bending, I'm resisting, 1, 2, 3. That's the 5
Kind of warned me that you're so
at the
close.
distal phalanx. And then for the 2, I put the forearm in neutral to place it in horizontal plane. And I'm still blocking the MCP and the PIP joints. Okay.
You block them for all 3, right?
For all 3 grades, yeah. You have to block the other joints to isolate.